You know, one of the best qualities that somebody can have is self-confidence. No, this is not a self-development, self-help, mental health positivity generating YouTube channel. This is a hockey YouTube channel. But as a guy who has come into contact with both personal experiences and friendship experiences where mental health and confidence and all that stuff is indeed an issue, I can kind of say it's really important, and I don't think there's anybody out there who disagrees. So when I see something like this, what we're talking about here today in PK Subban, I just gotta clap, man. I gotta clap, I gotta give my props, I gotta say, you know what? Slay. Just go out there and slay, man. Because today we're taking a look at two articles. The first article we have is a sit-down interview from mensjournal.com. The article is called PK Subban on Marrying Lindsey Vonn, Quarantine Life, and Jack Hughes. In this article, there is a 7-minute long video. It is a sit-down interview, perceivably done over Zoom because, you know, quarantine, with PK Subban. And the second article that we're going to take a look at is an article here from NJ.com. Yeah, it's a very New Jersey-based journalistic output position. You can definitely tell just by the URL. This article is an article talking about the sit-down interview that Subban had on mensjournal.com. It's easy to see why NJ.com is talking about Subban because he's a player for their own hockey team. Bad season and all, Devils PK Subban brags he's still one of the NHL's best blue liners. Now, you didn't hear that incorrectly. I'll leave a link in the description to the Men's Journal article so you can actually take a look and listen to the whole interview yourself, but this NJ.com article kind of summarizes some of the points that PK makes. Sure, the writer kind of criticizes PK here and there, but at the same time, the transcription of the quotes is indeed accurate, so we're going to use this just as a visual reference, because I don't want to use clips from mensjournal.com's article straight up. That's just not what we do on this channel. The article on NJ.com starts out very interestingly, where the writer, Randy Miller, says, right off the bat, Devils defenseman PK Subban seems to have become a bit delusional while living in quarantine the last 2 months with his fiancée Lindsey Vonn. Explaining his first season with the Devils, which has been the worst of his career, Subban is sort of blaming his struggles on playing for a rebuilding franchise that has one playoff victory over the last 8 seasons. Okay. You can say what you want about whether or not writer Randy Miller is correct, but this, towards the end, is indeed something that does have to be taken into consideration when talking about PK Subban. I'm sure most people have already seen Rob Talks Hockey's video. He made a video about the rise and fall of PK Subban, which is a very, very great story to tell. But essentially, PK Subban was one of the better defenders in the entire NHL when he was with the Nashville Predators and for some time with the Montreal Canadiens. However, after getting traded to the New Jersey Devils, along with that $9 million cap hit, and not really doing all too well on the score sheet, people have kind of labeled PK Subban in that of a different light than one that depicts him as one of the best D-men in the NHL. However, it's PK Subban himself who tells Men's Journal, in my opinion, I'm still one of the top defensemen in the league. When I am in the biggest games, the biggest moments, I feel that I'm one of the players that teams would love to have on their team and that they can rely on. And that's always been my game. Correction, it used to be Subban's game, writer Miller says. Now, before we get into any of the other comments that the writer here talks about, I wanted to actually bring this up because, honestly, this is something that I would rather see than not see out of a player. Sure, Subban is coming off of a year where he only had 18 points, and sure, he's making $9 million till 2022. But you would rather see PK Subban say this than say the contrary? Like, I don't want Subban going out here talking about how he sucks. No, that's not healthy for the game. That's not healthy for the image that people have towards themselves. Also, it's PK Subban. What are you going to expect, man? This guy's made a living off of being a personality in the hockey communities that he plays for. He's not going to go out there and say that he's trash all of a sudden because of one bad year. And sure, I know you could debate it's not only been one bad year, maybe you could say it's been two, but seriously, PK Subban is 2 years removed from getting 59 points in 82 games, and he's 3 years removed from going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Also, it should be noted that playing on a rebuilding New Jersey Devils team will indeed hamper your production, especially in contrast to playing in one of the best teams in the NHL in the Nashville Predators. Sure, it's certainly something that you have to take a look at here. I think the past 2 years definitely have been different experiences. When you're on a team like Nashville that's got won President's Trophy, Stanley Cup Finals, Conference Finals, winning divisions, yeah, by the way, I know all about that because you guys raised the banners for every single little thing last year, and then going to a New Jersey team that hasn't made the playoffs or has made it 1 year and out and is a younger team, it's just a different situation. So it's an adjustment. But I definitely believe that there's better things to come for me in my career. Whether it's winning a Norris or a Stanley Cup. Now, this is where my own personal opinion starts to come in there, and it's kind of why I wanted to include the little bit at the beginning of the article, because, sure, I've preached being confident about yourself, being confident about your situation, having the willingness to move forward and look for better things ahead. These are some great human qualities to have. But at the same time, man, I don't really see the Devils winning a cup anytime soon. Nor do I really see PK Subban winning another Norris again. Sure, it's awesome that he says that he's able to and that he believes he is capable of that. I love that. But I don't know if I agree. And that's kind of why I thought this was so interesting to the point that I wanted to make a video about it, because I know that once I read the headline and I saw that PK says that he's one of the best D-men in the NHL still, I read that and I was like, oh my goodness, are you serious? Really? And it's that kind of material, that kind of confidence that you don't really see in NHL players all too often. We note this all the time, but when it comes to NHL players and having personalities, there's only really like 3 that actually stand out. It's PK Subban, the guy who was crazy loud in Montreal and who made the donations and who was really awesome and everybody seemed to like, although some other conservative people said that he was bashful and shameless and all that stuff. And you got guys like Alex Ovechkin, who's not afraid to swim in a fountain with the Stanley Cup once in a while. But other than that, everybody in the NHL is just really low-key, really similar, and nobody really has any personality. Now, you can say that's good or that's bad or whatever, but the fact is people have been contrasting this quality of the NHL to the other Big Four sports leagues. You see the NFL and the NBA, these athletes have personalities. And if anybody like PK Subban was an NFL player, for example, his personality wouldn't really be all too noteworthy because a lot of other people act like that. So for comments like these to come out where he's just being really confident, he's being himself, and he's saying, yeah, you know, I think I'm one of the best D-men in the NHL. I love seeing the diversity in NHL personalities, but at the same time, it's not like I can sit here and say that I believe that he's right. You know, there's a difference in that for sure. Leading off the end of the interview here, PK Subban says that he wants to win everything every year. That's what you train for. If I didn't have the mindset of trying to be the best at what I do every day, then what's the point of doing it? You might as well retire. And that is something that I can definitely agree with. If you're not going to go 110%, why even go at all? If I was a New Jersey Devils fan, which I'm kind of not, but I'm open to the idea of liking their team because Jack Hughes is Jack Hughes, and I also really like Nikita Gusev too. If I was a Devils fan, I'd love this quote, and I'd love the passion and the determination that PK Subban has for improving his on-ice performance. Because anybody watching the NHL, anybody watching the Devils, anybody looking at the numbers could say that PK Subban is definitely not one of the best defensemen in the entire league. But If he thinks he can be that still, and that he is that still, and that he's got some work to do before he ends up showing that on the ice again, then I'd be excited. Sure, $9 million is a lot, but what are you gonna do? Buy the guy out? That's totally not gonna happen, right? Amnesty buyouts are a thing of the past. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you think about PK Subban, these comments, and his performance this year, and potentially next season. So that 99, and bye.